Hey, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photo chats. So, I recently photographed two events. One for a local magazine and one for it was the 4th of July. One was a Longmont Pride event where it was in the local park. And then I went to the 4th of July parade in a nearby town, Niwot, just a couple of days later. And both of those, I brought two cameras. And two cameras, you're a pro. One camera, you're a hobbyist. Two cameras, you can go anywhere. One camera, hey, you're in the way. I purposely took a digital body, my trusty D610, and a Nikon F100 film camera. And I wasn't sure I was going to shoot any film in the film camera, but I knew I was going to shoot digital. And I put a 300 millimeter lens, f4.5, kind of a medium size, not real gigantic, but very hand-holdable manual focus lens on the D610, and I put a 28-1.8 on the Nikon F100. So now I had two lenses with me, a super long and a pretty good wide. And that was a pretty good setup. Some people would say that's really extreme, and they would be right. But it worked out really good because I could get lots of reach for people speaking at a podium at the first event, as well as wide angle views of the booths and the people at the event. And the same thing happened with the parade. The 300 lets me reach people in the distance, and the 28 lets me get the feeling of the space and the number of people who are there. So I'll put a link to them in the show notes. You can take a look at them, and you can see, you'll notice which ones are which. The 300 millimeter lenses look definitely a different photo than the 28. And by going out there with those two lenses, especially that 300, now right away I'm a working pro. Obviously he's working. Look, he's got that big lens on that camera, and he's got the second camera. At the 4th of July event, I also took a Rolleiflex, and I had a small bag. I guess I had a small bag with me. And in that bag, I had a Rolleiflex, and I ended up shooting a roll of film out there of the parade as well, which was also a treat because this town looks like little Americana, and the people in it look like, picture perfect Boulder County people walking in a parade for the 4th of July. So that was great fun, and I would say the film photos transcend the feeling of the digital photos. The digital photos are perfectly good. They're 100% great. But the film photos are special in their own way. That square black and white, there's just a different feeling altogether. And I'll put a link to those too, you can see, and see if you see the difference. I know I do. And the beauty of film is it's archival. I don't have to back up hard drives for multiple generations and multiple hard drives down the road. In fact, there's a little story about hard drives. A friend of mine used to work for Seagate, and he just retired, and they have a big building in Boulder, and I said, hey, I just thought I heard that the building was sold. He goes, they did sell it. They sold it, and then they are leasing it back from the new owner, which he says tells him there won't be hard drives in 10 years. That's his prediction. Might be worth keeping in the back of our minds. Wonder how we'll be storing everything. Will it just be all up on a cloud somewhere and nobody will have individual hard drives? And I don't know what that exactly means. But in any case, when it comes to working, take two lenses, take two bodies. I knew if I'd ever shot that F100 film camera, it's okay, it's still holding the lens for me. It became a lens holder for the 28 or the 300 while I was using the other one, and I still got to carry the two lenses. And not a person said to me, hey, what are you doing? Of course you belong there. While everybody else is standing at the parade behind the parade line, I'm out with the parade line because I'm working. While everybody else is walking around with phones at the Pride event, I'm walking around with two cameras and photographing because I'm working. Two cameras, you're a pro. One camera, you're a hobbyist. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. If you can support, hit the Patreon. Thanks to all of my supporters. I so appreciate you. I will see you next time. We'll talk more photography. As always, here's the good light.